Yeah.
What's up, guys? Austin Chastain, No Mere Mortal Outdoors. This is kind of the first installment that we're going to do of the podcast style testimonial discussion that really is the basis and the background and the purpose of this channel. An opportunity to bring together fellow outdoorsmen, fellow believers, kind of find where those two worlds collide, talk about them in our individual lives, and get an opportunity to see both sides of some very influential people in my life. So with me today is Gavin Willison, co-owner, co-founder of No Off Season Training Facility. So kind of walk us through who you are, what you do, and then we'll kind of dive into the discussion.
Man. I really appreciate you having me on the podcast. Looking forward to hearing each week who you have in and each month. And watching some of the hunting videos. Really cool idea, really cool thing. My name's Gavin Willison. We own a gym called No Off Season. We had a youth minister that used to take us to the gym, and he began to show us what a relationship with Christ looked like, to see a godly man that lived it out on a daily basis. And I was in middle school, my brother was in high school, and we said we wanted to open a gym one day and call it No Off Season. And we had a guy that invested a lot of money and told us just continue to pay the rent. I mean, he basically just gave it to us. We knew this guy for maybe 3 months. Everyone was telling us we were crazy. But man, what an incredible blessing of how God can use somebody to fulfill a vision that he lays on your heart 20 years ago.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's incredible.
Yeah, and you have some dumb little high schoolers that just wanted to be meatheads, and it turned
It
into
fun,
something
man.
special.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's been an incredible journey watching both Brandon and Gavin. Obviously, Gavin played college football, so there was a time where we were training with Brandon, but we're up in the upstairs of a orthopedic clinic in the attic, getting in trouble. When we ran to. That's where I learned how to run with light feet, because we get in trouble if we ran too loud down there. The PT people get mad at us.
Yeah.
But then obviously watching the gym, and then the renovation of the gym, then the growing of the gym, so much so that we had to break ground and build a whole new facility because there just wasn't a already established facility that could house what was going on here.
Yeah.
And there's no doubt that it's been God ordained. Every step along the way has been pretty clear indicators that he's got a hand in all of this. So it's been cool to watch. But let's kind of get into some discussion here. First thing, obviously, Outdoor Hunting and Fishing Channel.
Let's go.
Give me your I said favorite at first. Give me your most glaring, the memory in the outdoors that stands out to you the most.
Man, when you said that, I was like, there's about 10 different stories I could talk about. All of them are pretty comical. I guess the one that was etched into my memory might be the most disturbing one. It was the opening day of bow season, and I was sitting in a ladder stand, and this little doe comes out. Well, I'm looking to get some deer meat. First day of the season, I kind of want to knock the dust off the bow and see if I still got it. And this deer walks out, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, here we go. And I bury this deer and stick it to the ground, and next thing you know, man. And I'm like, no, man, I got to get down. I got to finish this deer.
Yeah.
And I go to step down off the ladder stand with my book bag and all my stuff, because I'm like, I can't sit here and listen to this thing murr the whole time. And I miss a step. So I fall 15 feet, land on my back. My scope pops off my bow. This little deer is still yelling down there. I go walking over. Obviously, I've got to finish the deer, and then it weighed probably 40 pounds. I picked it up with one hand. I hadn't seen a deer that year, so it looked good.
The scale, you didn't have any perspective.
No scale. It was a bad day. But then I think about when we used to go duck hunting and all the trips wading through the water and the 3 a.m. We did some silly stuff for 1 or 2 birds, and sometimes we didn't get 1 or 2. I remember when Lauren fell underwater and Nolan yelled at her, hey, that thing's not a snorkel, get your gun out of the water. I mean, it was just one story after another. Much fun.
Were you with us the morning that we left? We used to give some perspective, we used to load up bay boats.
Oh,
literally eight dudes deep in a bay boat, drive 13 miles up the river, and then wait a mile. Were you with us the morning that we left the river house? It was like a thunderstorm. You definitely were, because we ended up at y'all's property.
God.
turn north into the river, and it's like 3-foot swells on the river.
Couldn't even get out of the boat.
No.
I remember when Brandon got in the water with Hebe's waders on, and there was a hole in the backside, and they just filled up with water immediately, and it's like 30 degrees out there.
Walked around for a little bit with a finger in the hole,
awful.
and we won't talk about where the hole was.
That's right. I was like, dang, Hebe, what kind of waders are these?
Good
Out of
freaking
control.
times, dude. Those are some good times.
Yeah.
I ain't been up there in a minute, but
definitely fun.
next question is going to be, I want to hear your testimony. So Gavin and I kind of work together in a small group. We have a small group that we share, and we've gone through the process of testimonies and developing discipleship. And there's a time and a place for an abbreviated testimony. That it gets the point across but doesn't lose people. And so if you want to give that version, if you want to give your full version, essentially just walk me through your relationship with Christ and how that came to be, the ins and outs, however you want to portray it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We grew up going to church. It was just a Southern thing. We'd wake up every Sunday, and all of us would fake sleep in so we could try to miss church, and my dad would snatch us out of bed, and everybody would be crying. But the moment we walked into church, it was like wipe the tears up, act like everything's good. We would walk in with a smile on our face. And it was kind of the old passage in Matthew 23 when he was speaking to the religious leaders. You're like whitewashed tombs. You look good on the outside, but on the inside, you're rotten. You're still dead. And that was kind of our family. We would paint it really well. And everyone was thinking, man, the Willisons have it all together. But in actuality, we were dead behind the scenes. But it was through the church that we met this youth minister that kind of began to change the dynamics of our family as we saw someone living out the gospel. We were like, I don't know what this guy has, but I want whatever he has. And I remember in middle school, I just had a fear of death. Had a hard time sleeping at night, so my middle brother Nolan, he would definitely get super annoyed because I'd go try to crawl in bed with him, and he'd be like, "Get out of here, you little freak!" And I'm like, "Dang, man!" I was just scared to death, man. Public speaking, you name it, I was just always anxious, always fearful. But we grew up in a house where it was like, men don't cry, men aren't scared. So I put on a front like I was a big bad dude. I would be in middle school, I'd go in the locker rooms, and I'd act like I'd fight anybody or do anything, when in actuality, I was scared to death of my own shadow. And I remember I gave my life to Christ in 7th grade, and my mom gave me a verse to hold on to. It was 2 Timothy 1:7. God has not given me a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and sound mind. So I would literally lay in bed quoting that scripture over and over, and next thing you know, I'd fall asleep. And as time went, it's crazy how God began to replace that spirit of fear and began to instill a spirit of power and courage and sound mind and discipline. And it's just a continual reminder that we have to meditate on God's word and the truth of his word, and begin to re-ingrain our thought process with his thought process. And it took time. It wasn't easy. There was a lot of sleepless nights. I'd go downstairs, try to get mom, and dad would be like, buddy, if you think you're scared of Boogeyman, you're about to be scared of me if you don't get back in bed. So I'd go lay back in bed and be like,
there's nowhere that's safe.
That's right.
No
He's
quarter.
Like, I'll give you something to cry about, boy. So that's it, man.
That's cool. I mean, and just that mine's similar to where you can almost, and it's almost something that you don't realize at first of that replacement, but you start seeing it when you develop that purpose, or when you gain that perspective of God's behind this. And it's not that you're not going to have times of fear. It's not that you're not going to have moments where you still have those worldly thoughts and emotions and things that creep in, but it's that overall theme of, look, no matter what happens, good or bad, because bad still happens.
That's right.
God's at the helm of this. Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I feel like that's the world a lot of times, even still, that we see, live in, and interact with every day, is we put on this front, and it's not really until you realize that, like, yes, church is an outward expression of faith. Yes, fellowship, small group, whatever it is an outward expression, but it's that it's that one-on-one relationship that really comes in and makes the pivotal difference in a life and changes a lifestyle.
That's right.
Not just doesn't just create habits; it changes the heart and the lifestyle of the believer. That's so crucial.
That's good. And many times, I mean, parents will ask us, well, should I make my kids go to church? And I'm like, if it wasn't for my dad making us go to church, the dynamics of our family doesn't change.
Right.
That relationship was encountered in the church.
Right.
And it's like, odds are you're probably going to meet more godly people in the church than out of the church.
You
and
might meet some bad ones, but overall, your numbers are going to be pretty good.
Higher.
Yeah, exactly.
So I definitely look back, and I'm grateful my dad forced us to go.
Yeah.
Because that's where we encountered what it looked like to walk with Christ daily.
Yeah.
And that's what changed our lives ultimately.
You knew the outline, but
That's
you didn't know the substance of it until you started walking in and seeing it worked out. That's super cool. Tell me this. When did you know that you wanted to open a gym? So like, what was kind of the first? When was the first time that you're like, man, I want to do this for a living? Like, I like working out a lot, but like, I think I could do this for like my life.
I mean, I really think it was in middle school when we were working out every day after school. So we'd work out at football at school, and then we would go after school and spend another 2 or 3 hours at the gym. We were like, man, we love this stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember me and Brandon constantly talking about just having the opportunity to pour into young people and to love on them and to show them what a relationship with Christ looks like. Yeah. And that's kind of where that journey began. We didn't know what it would look like. My dad would always say, everybody wants to run a gym, man.
Right.
Like, come on. He's like, that just ain't going to provide for a family. You can't provide for a family running a gym.
Right.
He's like, I'd run a gym. Feels profitable. He's like, it ain't profitable. You don't have any life insurance. You don't have any health insurance. Yeah. I mean, and I understand where he's coming from. There was no security in that. It's one of the top failing businesses.
Right.
But when God lays something on your heart, he's going to provide the means you need to do it. So.
For sure. And that was going to be my next question is like, obviously there's a point where it was like, hey, I want to do this. This would be a cool thing to do for a living. Like this would be a cool job. And then God meets that. Do you have a glaring moment where you were like, I think this was God. This is where God stepped in and said, hey, this is something that you can do, or was it kind of just the blending of the two worlds, keeping a goal that maybe was outside of Christ, outside of God at first, and then realized that you could use it to His glory? Or
so I remember I went to school initially thinking, I love math, so I'll just be an engineer. One day we'll start this gym down the road.
Be a good exit plan.
Yeah, that's right. I get into calculus, and I'm like, all right, maybe I don't like math like I thought I liked math. So then I transitioned thinking like physical therapy, and that's what Brandon was doing at the time. And he got into physical therapy, and he realized, like, man, I don't really want to help people get back to where they were. I want to help people get better.
Yeah.
And so God began to transition his heart and my heart towards kinesiology, exercise science, training people to get better. And I remember a pivotal moment was when I was sitting down with one of my professors. It was the head of the department, Human Health and Performance Department. And he looked at me when I told him that I was going home to open a gym and told me I was an idiot. He used some choice language with that.
Right.
And he was like, man, stay here, run graduate courses. We can do case studies together and all of this stuff. And I was like, nah, man, I feel like God's called me to go home and open a gym. Yeah. And we didn't know what it was going to look like at that point. But I remember the opposition that was coming against the vision that God had laid on our heart. And that's when I knew, I was like, we're probably headed in the right direction.
Right. Yeah.
When everybody's saying don't, and yet God continually says do, it's like, all right, well, as much as I love and respect these opinions, I know what God has laid on our heart. And then for God to bring Chad Hurley into our lives and for them to invest the money to pursue this
kind of just
teenager's vision and to say it's y'all's, just keep running it. I mean, it's just incredible that God can lay something in your lap like that.
And it's cool to hear that, like, it was opposition, and then once you got to a point where you had pushed through and persevered enough, or y'all had pushed through and persevered enough, like all of a sudden, then the blessings came, and then the blessings started coming. Like I can I can think back to a few things in my life to where like it was easy to go the wrong way. Like there was, and it kind of like yours, where like nobody would, you had minimal encouragement to do what you were doing. Yeah, people were like, oh, that's an awesome thing. But like nobody was coming behind you while you were pursuing that PT and being like, dude, you're doing the right thing. Continue until you started trying to leave.
That's right.
And then people are like, dude, you're crazy for leaving. Like,
That's right.
I didn't think I was. I didn't think I was that. People are that motivated to keep me here until we start deviating. I feel and I feel like that's the case a lot, to where it's easy to. Yeah, if you're going the exact wrong way, like you can think of people in your life, and I can too, to where it was blatant, like they were completely on the wrong path,
outside of God's will.
Right, and people were coming alongside that person, being like, "Hey, you might be missing it here," things like that. But there are people who toe that line and just kind of deviate just enough to look the part, but maybe they're not. Nobody's coming beside that person except for the people who are closest to them, and that's where fellowship is so important. But the enemy's not sending people to keep you on the wrong side, and God's sitting here with these gentle nudges, but you've just maybe hardened your heart or hardened your mind or whatever. Right. But nobody, like the enemy doesn't have to fight hard for somebody that he's already got.
Yeah,
and so it's
down the
easy.
wrong path anyway.
And you're like, man, it's good. Like I'm doing okay in work, but something's missing, or I feel I'm successful in school, but like I don't feel like I'm doing what I need to do. Like it's not that it's hard, but it's not right. That very well may be, and it's been in my life, that may very well may be God pulling you in a different direction, and just pulling you that way, and the enemy's not trying to keep you in that way until you start deviating. I don't know if that makes a lot of sense, but it's kind of like you didn't have, based off your story, what you were saying, like there wasn't a lot of opposition, there wasn't a lot of encouragement to stay until you started trying to leave.
That's right. Yeah, and the thing is, I think it all comes back to like seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all of these things will be added unto you. It's that daily seeking.
Right.
And like you said, it's those gentle nudges. And yeah, they might be uncomfortable because you're going to face opposition when you begin to step out to what God is calling you to. And I knew he had laid these passions on our heart for physical training. We loved it.
Right.
We loved doing it. And the passions lined up with, hey, we could provide for a family. We could do this as a living. Because, I mean, it's one thing to be passionate about golf, and yet you can't hit a golf ball 100 yards. It's like you can be passionate all day, but that's not
You're not very good at it.
Yeah, that's right. So we still have to use logic too.
Right.
I mean, at times God can lay these passions, and they just need to be hobbies.
Right.
They don't necessarily need to be what you do as an occupation, but I do believe he's wired each and every one of us with passions that can be an occupation, and yet many times we get lost with, well, can I make enough money? Can I do this? Can I do that? And we get lost in the worldly things when it's like, he's going to provide all of that.
If it's
and we've
truly
seen it time
God-ordained.
and time again. I mean,
100%.
for him to give us a gym, for him to give us these opportunities to expand. If you looked at our books and looked at our numbers, you'd be like, there's no way they can expand and do this. And yet we've had bankers and different people put their neck out to make it happen.
Well, and I think that comes from that original, like you're stepping out, and then it's so crazy to see the just jigsaw puzzle of pieces that he can put together that like you don't even realize at the time, like primary investor, right, gives you the gym. You start doing the gym, you're doing the gym in the right way. Then he puts somebody in that gym that he's already blessed you with the gym. He blesses you with somebody within the gym that then bless you with the, like it's just crazy how these things kind of stack
100%.
up. And now we're sitting here looking at it, what, 15 years later now, 10 years later now, and like, man, how did we get here? And like, the overarching theme, the answer is God. Like 100%, the answer is God put us here. But if you really dig deeper, like I feel like we in today's society just want that like instant hit, that instant gratification of like somebody's like, well, how do I get to where you are? And you just say, God's like, okay, I'm gonna start praying, like I'm gonna start reading my Bible.
Yeah.
But really and truly, it's if you look back and you told that person, instead of just saying, hey, God put us here, and you said, hey, if you really want to learn, give me 2 weeks to explain how all this happened. Then you start saying, look, I was in PT. I stepped out of a job that was going to be very secure. Then I stepped into a gym where, yes, I had the building, but no clientele. And there was a time where there has probably been more time in this journey, correct me if I'm wrong, to where there was more uncertainty than certainty on future and productivity. But what you had at the back of it was God, and that faith and that security that, hey, no matter what happens, I'm doing the right thing, so there's a reason for it. And I feel like that's something that is, it's not glamorous. Like it's not the pretty answer. It's not that instant gratification, but it's that reliance that, hey, it may not be comfortable all the time.
Right.
Like it may not be comfortable right now. It may not be comfortable in 7 years. Like you may be rubbing pennies together to try to get a nickel. Like but at the end of the day, you're not doing it for the money. Yes, the money can and probably will come, but I feel like we get so focused on, and that's where you get the prosperity gospel and things like that, to where it's not about the worldly blessings that you pursue these things. The worldly blessings will be added on to you. All of these things will be added on to you. Exactly. It's security. It's financial security. It's a roof over your head. Yeah. And it doesn't have to look like maybe what 12-year-old you dreamed. And as long as I think you're pursuing God, He wants Himself elevated. Yeah, that's like at the end of the day, God wants Himself to be something that is desirable, right? And so why would He make someone who is truly desiring Him be miserable? That's not going to draw anybody. And so I think it's in the best benefit of the kingdom to add to the people that are pursuing Him. Yep. But I think the enemy can do that too, to distract it. And it's not just the worldly blessings that we should go off of, because He got dominion over the world. He roams the earth like a roaring lion, right? And so He has dominion over all of these things, and sure, He can use them. Yeah. He can use them for a false gospel. He can use them for false blessing. Yeah. He can use them to make a whitewashed tomb very easily, to where it's something that somebody's like, man, I want that. If you want a big house, you can go get a big house.
That's right.
At the end of the day, you can go find it. If you want
to be a slave to that mortgage.
100%.
I got to work 24/7 to pay the mortgage. I can't raise my family. I can't be with my family.
Or I left my family to go do this job. Like, absolutely. If you're whatever you're pursuing, you're going to sacrifice something. At the end of the day, you're going to be sacrificing something. And if it's worldly things, the enemy will definitely help to get you those things, but at the cost of what? Yeah. Your soul, your life, your comfort, your security, your fear.
That's right.
Right? The fear of losing everything. So I've built my life pursuing these worldly, this income, this house, this truck, this boat, whatever it may be. Now I'm going to live in fear every single day that if something doesn't go right, I could lose it.
Yeah, you're holding on as tight as you can 100%. Hold on.
100%. And then you got Christ, and you're like, man, like I've gotten these things and I love these things, but I know that they're temporary things. Yep. I'm going to enjoy them. But if I lose all of that, at least I've still got Christ.
That's it, 100%.
And I feel like that's a real secure place to be.
And I think when I got the cancer diagnosis, that's when you begin to realize none of this other stuff matters.
Right.
Like if I've only got a few weeks to live, if I've only got a few months to live, how different is my life going to look? I realized that I don't have to respond to a text message and an email immediately. Right. I don't have to answer a phone call and return that phone call immediately. Right. Like people are okay with you calling back in a few days and saying, hey, sorry I missed your call, sorry it's been so long, and talking them through it. Because what I began to realize, the only thing that matters in this life is our relationship with God and our relationship with others. Yeah. We're not bringing stuff to heaven.
Right, 100%.
But we can bring people with us. God can use us to draw people to the kingdom of God, and they can come with us for all of eternity. And thankfully, with my wife and my mom and dad and brothers and just family that came around, my spiritual family, you guys, praying, fasting, and just seeing how God used what seemed so negative, how He took the cancer and what the enemy meant to destroy and used it for good. I mean, there was a season to where if it wasn't for the cancer and the money that people gave to help me during that cancer journey, the gym closes down during the whole construction project. So it was like God used the cancer that maybe Satan wanted to use to destroy what was going on up here at the gym, and God turned it for good and said, we're going to use this cancer to sustain the vision and the ministry that we've given you guys. And it is insane. That's crazy. Oh,
so kind of walk us through that if you want to. If not, it's fine. Just walk us through that. What was going on here? Because a lot of people see the building and don't realize how much of a headache But barring the health stuff, it was to get it done, kind of what was going on here, and then kind of that news and what happened there.
Yeah, so I remember we were in this building currently. This was kind of our turf space, and this is where we trained, and me and Brandon were thinking, man, we need more space. So we were looking to expand, and it seemed like the numbers were right. Our CPA over in Mobile, he was like, now's the time. You're not getting any younger. Like, go ahead and do it. And we just felt uneasy about it.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, let's pray this weekend. We'll come back on Monday. We have our prayer meeting on Monday, and we'll talk about it. Well, we both come back in on Monday, and we're both unified in the fact that we probably don't need to expand.
Yeah.
And it was disappointing because we've been telling all our people for weeks, we're expanding.
We're going to blow it out.
And now we got to eat our pride and be like, we're not expanding.
Yeah.
And a few weeks later, COVID hits. And I'm like, thank you, God, for saving us from expanding.
Yeah.
Because what a mess that would have been trying to navigate that. So we get past COVID, and it's crazy even how during COVID, God just provided. We were able to buy more property and do more. And hindsight's 20/20. If we truly believed in the sovereignty of God, we wouldn't have been fearful during that season.
Right.
But yet, our human nature is, man, what if we lose everything? Man, like, you're still trying to hold on to that.
Right. Yeah.
And I wish I would have enjoyed that time more. Because, man, what a nice time it was. Didn't have to work, could spend time with my family, go to the river.
Yeah.
And yet so many times I would lay in bed at night thinking, are we going to make it through this? And, man, did we ever make it through it? And we prospered through it.
Yeah.
And I just look back like, how did that happen? I mean, the only thing that explains that is God. And then you fast forward and we're back on the expansion train.
Right.
We're like, we're going to expand. Everything looks good. And we get shut down by one of the bankers that we use. And we were like, well, maybe we don't need to expand. So we started praying some more. And God just began to bring people to us.
Yeah.
Bay Life Church, they began to come to us and say, hey, would one of you guys plant a campus over here? And we were like, well, this is our vision. We kind of want this to be our hub. We're not really looking to get into actual vocational ministry. This is our ministry. And they were like, well, instead of pioneering something new, what if we came and we partnered with you guys? This is what we'd be willing to pay a month if y'all would build something.
Yeah.
And then Ann Schilling with Eastern Shore Volleyball, same thing. Hey, we'll pay this much a month if you guys would build something.
Right.
Physical therapy, Tyler Vaughn and them over at Refine PT. Hey, if you'll build this, we'll do it. We had a guy with a coffee shop come in, thirsty stranger, and he's like, hey, I'll pay this much if you'll build the coffee shop. And then J.C. Romero with the baseball. It was just one thing after another how God began to bring these people. Well, then all of a sudden, when we had these intent to leases and we went to Doug over at Riverbank, he was like, let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
And so we started the expansion project, and you talking about spiritual warfare. Holy cow, that was the longest 2 years of my life. And we were trying to hold on so tightly, like we were just running through money. We weren't getting necessarily what we were paying for. And it was not a wrestle against flesh and blood. It was definitely a spiritual wrestle. But what ended up happening is, in our flesh, we tried to hold on and tried to control everything and tried to control these circumstances. And it wasn't until I got the cancer diagnosis during this a year and a half into the construction project that I finally realized, like, man, I'm not in control.
Right.
Like, let go of all this. And I remember I had my cancer surgery, and that night I told my wife, I was like, this is the most I've rested in a year and a half.
Crazy.
Like, this is the most peace I've had. This is the best rest I've had in a year and a half. Yeah. And she was just like, holy cow. It's crazy it takes something that dramatic to get your attention.
And there was no guarantees after it either. Like,
no,
it wasn't like...
that's it.
I pray that less of you than not have walked through cancer with somebody, but, like, there's never a moment of security. Like, there's never a moment of, all right, I'm good now.
It's so unknown.
But even still, like, through that, your realization that... And it's almost like it's coming full circle, right? Like, you went from the beginning of... in school, like, I have nothing to bring to the table, but I know I want to do this,
That's
right? And so if it's going to happen, it's got to be God. So coming back, and then I think we get kind of saturated by the world,
right.
and I think it's inevitable of like, okay, yes, I had nothing. I came from nothing, but now I have something, so I don't want to lose that something. And we hold on. Man. And it's almost like I'm never going to say that like he struck you with cancer to humble you, but I think he uses these things. I think he uses these things to kind of reset the shot clock and say, hey, like you ain't all that.
That's right.
I'm at the helm of this, and yes, I'll bless you, but what I give, I can take away, and so on and so forth. And I don't think he wants to take it away from us. Like I don't think it was ever his intent to take the gym, but to feel that I really could lose this. Like this 100%. Is not something that I need to make my security. I don't need to wrap my gratification. No. My night's sleep does not need to be wrapped up in this thing because at the end of the day, tomorrow it could go away. Then what's helping me sleep at night?
That's right.
What's giving me the security to still be a husband, father, whatever it may look like in somebody's life. Of like these worldly things are fleeting.
Yeah.
Including our life, including the loved ones around us.
Tomorrow.
Absolutely. And so what are you really holding on to that can't be taken away at the snap of a finger if it's not your salvation and your security in Christ? Because at the end of the day, that's the only thing that's going to transcend the mortal realm into the immortal realm and eternity. Like that's the ultimate investment. Yep. Like there is no bank that can crash and lose all your invested money. There is no building that can burn down. There is no job that somebody can have a fallout at the top and now all of a sudden the company goes away. There is no, I mean, to hope to God this isn't the case. There is no spouse that can make a bad decision and derail everything about a family. Like it doesn't matter how secure you think these worldly things are, they're not.
Yeah.
There's things that happen every day that at a snap of a finger, something that somebody has built their entire life around is gone. I mean, the easy way to talk about it is these athletes. We talked about it in here of like these professional athletes that seem to have it all together. All of a sudden they have a career-ending injury. And they get to the end of it, and they're like, what did I do all this for? Like, I have no purpose in life. We've seen it with guys specifically in the gym of like, I chased this passion. I chased this sport. I made it everything about me. And then I was done, and I had nowhere to turn.
Yeah.
I had left everything behind to pursue this worldly passion, to pursue this worldly thing. And all of a sudden, it was gone, and I had nothing to fall back onto. And it led me to the darkest place. And God's always waiting in that place.
That's right.
But it creates a lot of turmoil, and it creates a lot of undue stress and hardships in life. And it's not that you're not going to go through that even in Christ, but you have that security to fall back on when those times come, 100%.
Right, it makes me think about the verse, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and yet forfeit your own soul?
It's crazy.
Is anything worth more than a man's soul? So he's like, you can go out there and from the worldly standpoint, gain the whole world.
Right.
But you're going to forfeit your soul in the process. And he's like, is that really worth it?
Yeah.
And I just think about the joy and the peace and the satisfaction that comes with knowing that, man, I can't control everything.
Yeah.
But he is in control of all things.
I think it's important to keep in mind, too, that like we're operating in a world that is outside of the original design.
That's right.
So it's not as if you have to be within God's will to enjoy the pleasures that this world has to offer. And I think we sometimes can get numb to that of like, well, things are going bad because I'm not in God. I better get back to church and maybe things will turn around. And it's yes, it is, but in a way you can do it the complete opposite way. And we see it all the time. People being fulfilled by this world and having things that maybe a Christ follower desires.
Yeah.
But the Christ followers desiring them from a standpoint of Christ, and He's gained them through the world. And at the end of the day, it's not the building; it's the foundation that it stands on.
Yeah,
like I can build the most beautiful tower in the world, but if it's built on sinking sand, then it's worth nothing. I'm not going to stand at the top of the tower because that sucker may fall any second. I could build the most modest house half that height, but I can stand at the top of that house knowing that the foundation is solid, because at the end of the day. Yeah, you're going to enjoy that tower. You might be at the top of that ivory tower, and you might be living life, but if that sand shift, it's going to be a long fall.
That's good.
But if that house is built on solid foundation, you know that's where your security lies.
And what's crazy is with that foundation, it's unseen.
Right.
It's what you don't see that stabilizes that building. And sometimes I feel like we can get caught up in these public displays of Christ and skip the private devotion that builds the foundation.
Right.
It's like, man, it's that private time. It's that one-on-one.
Yeah.
It's that seeking him daily. I mean, even my quiet time this morning was put on love. So just like you get dressed in the morning, it's not an emotion.
Right.
You choose to put it on.
It's a mindset.
And that's it. It's like, man, we choose to serve. We choose to do these things, not out of what can we get in return, but out of, because God loved me, I'm going to love those around me.
Absolutely. And like you said, I mean, how often do you hear it of like this beautiful house, somebody's trying to buy a house and they have this beautiful house they find, they want to buy it. Everything goes great until the inspection comes. Now all of a sudden there's a problem with the foundation.
Exactly.
Like the foundation has nothing to do with the outward appearance. That house can be beautiful. You can, like you said, like I had growing up, like you can go to church.
Yeah, that's
You can go to church, you can not cuss, you can not drink, you can do all these things and be a beautiful outward being. But the second something changes, like me, like I was around the gym, I didn't cuss, I was the good kid, and I didn't party. But the second I left, that little bit of cussing that I did, like maybe I kept it controlled around the people that I grew up with, in the gym, in the church, whatever. Well, the second I leave, I go to school. Now I'm not around those people anymore. They have no expectations of me. I don't have a reputation that I built. That really and truly, that's what I was living for, was my reputation.
That's it.
I don't have that. All of a sudden, I can be this person, and to be honest, the world looks pretty enticing.
That's right.
And so then, without that foundation, you start to shift, and you say, maybe I can move this way a little bit. And I had the foundation, so that's the other thing is like maybe I built a wall or two wrong. But I was able to knock those walls down, those strongholds in my life, those sins that crept in, and fall back on it and go back to the foundation that I'd built and start back from a solid place. And the thing is, it's never too late to build that foundation, but sometimes it might mean tearing down some pretty impressive structures.
It's going to be turning back
a
lot of pages. It might be leaving a job, leaving relationships, you name it.
Yeah.
And it just makes me think about how many times we see people's reputation ruined.
Yep.
And in turn, they walk away from their relationship with God because it was more about the reputation.
It was a social status more than a lifestyle.
And it's like, man, it's got to be more about the foundation, about the relationship than the reputation.
Yeah.
Even if my reputation crumbles, am I still going to cling to Christ, knowing that he can restore and renew all things? He says, those who confess their sins, I'm faithful and just to forgive them of their sins. So it's like, man, we got to come back to the one who can forgive, who can redeem, who can restore, and not run away.
Yeah, and that's a good point too. Of like, even if the reputation, because we're gonna fall, right? We're gonna slip.
Yeah,
we're human.
we're
I mean, we've been doing it since however many days it took from creation to the apple, right? So
that's right.
We'll arbitrarily say day 3, right? We've been doing it since day 3, but we're gonna fall and we're gonna stumble, and sometimes those falls, especially from a high place of standing, might have some pretty big fallouts. And I hope to God that never happens. Like I pray that never happens to myself or to somebody around me, and it won't, because I'm doing it from the right standpoint. But the day that changes, it could.
That's it.
But it's important to say too, like even when that happens, dude, like that's not the end of it. Like
God
there's a person, there's a mutual person in our life that happens, and now all of a sudden it's like, dude, like the whole foundation of everything that I know that person to be and you know that person to be, so it's going to shatter some things around you.
Right.
And so at the end of the day, if you're living for the approval of those around you, if you're living for the gratification and the pats on the backs, while everything's good, they'll be there. But if something happens, they may go away. What are you going to fall back on? Because at the end of the day, if it's the reputation, if it's the business that you built, if it's the job that you built, I'll never forget my boss. Right now, when we were sitting down for our interview, and it wasn't from a spiritual standpoint, but it's become one of the biggest spiritual things that I've lived by in my life. She said that one of her, leading mentalities is your job and the place where you work will replace you in a week. But the people who you're around will not be able to. And so, what kind of legacy are you leaving on those around you? Because the things of this world, like it's going to keep. Solomon tells us, right? There's nothing new under the sun. These things have lasted way before us and will last way after us. Like there's nothing that you can do to change the earth.
Yeah.
Right. but you can change the lives of others around
That's
you,
right.
and by doing that, you change the world at the end of
good.
the day. And so I think it's important to keep that in mind too, of like what you're living for doesn't have to be like, we see apologists or whatever to where like you can't have anything, right? You can't, anything of joy is probably rooted in evil. Like you need to rid
That's
yourself
right.
of all that. Like it's not that, it's that we know that these things aren't worth
They're fleeting.
and I saw it the other day. It was so crazy that people use this verse of like God is, the G greater than sign, up arrow, down arrow, tattoo that everybody's got. God is greater than the highs and the lows.
Yeah.
We're so quick to say God is greater than the lows. Like,
That's right.
obviously, right? God is greater than any cancer diagnosis,
That's
any
right.
loss. But it's important to believe that He's greater than the highs too.
Yeah, even when things are going
Even
great,
when things
the
are
family's
good.
prospering, when the business is
Exactly.
prospering, He's greater than
And
that.
we
This is temporary.
we have a tendency to elevate that.
Yeah.
Um,
And just thinking about Paul when he's like, I know how to be content in all things.
In
And
all things.
Philippians 4:13.
Yep.
For the strength that God has given me to endure all of those things.
Yeah. It's a resounding theme that I think is easy to brush over, but important to keep at the back of the mind of like, look, no matter what's happening, good or bad,
Yeah.
God's still present, and God still desires more. That's the other thing, is like you've never reached the pinnacle on this earth.
Yeah.
Like there's no point of being able to rest on your laurels and get comfortable on this earth that is worth stopping.
That's
like
right.
and call it retirement, call it whatever you want to. Like I don't think we're meant to find a career and work in it until we die. Like I don't like a physical job, but I don't think we're ever called to stop working. I don't think we're ever called to stop, because what is work if not an opportunity for us to show Christ? What are the things that we do? Hunting and fishing. Like I said with this channel, like the main thing about this channel is like, yes, I can use hunting and fishing to be an idol and be something that pulls me away, or I can use it for a gift that there's no way it's an accident that little me would, like every body of water that I pass, I'm sitting there thinking about how many fish are in it, or I can't pass an ag field without
on your heart. For
I don't think that's an accident.
That's right.
But I think it can accidentally be used for the wrong reasons.
Become an idol quick.
100%.
Consume everything you do, everything you spend your money on, all
Time,
of it.
every
Absolutely,
weekend,
man.
every
it
free
can rob
moment.
your family, it can rob everything.
And it's a fine line to walk, and hunting and fishing's an easy one, but that can be anything. So
That's right.
I don't want to take up too much time, so we'll kind of call it good there. But I appreciate you talking, and to y'all out there, like the main thing that I kind of want to take away from this episode, and what I was pretty confident just through thinking through it, and kind of knew Gavin was going to harp on, is like, God's going to bless those who pursue the kingdom. But at the end of the day, it's never something to rest in and get comfortable in, because it can be taken away in a
That's
heartbeat. I've seen it in my life too close, honestly, but you've seen it too, to where it's not that God's blessings are little teases dangling out in front of us, but they're never something to take for granted. They're never something to kind of rest in and get comfortable in, because at the end of the day, they're fleeting. And the only thing that's going to sustain you and satisfy you day in and day out is the love of Christ, and pursuing showing that love to others.
That's right.
And so that's what you're doing with the gym here, and it's incredible to watch. If y'all are ever in South Alabama, need somewhere to work out,
no off season, baby.
work out the body or the spirit.
There we go.
Come on up here.
Absolutely.
And so it's a pretty cool place, and watching y'all grow. And then obviously, if you ever need any information on a gym or somewhere to work out, my website's set up. You can send me an email. Gavin and Brandon are actually the ones that kind of inspired me to be able to offer a free devotional. Like I think that that's an important thing. That quiet time that you mentioned is a crucial thing in someone's life and relationship with Christ. I want to make that available. So what I'll have is an opportunity to reach out and say, hey, I want to get started in this thing. A devotional is a good place to start. It's not a good place to end. It's not all there is,
right.
but it's a good place to start.
No doubt.
And really and truly, the theme is, no matter where you're at, God can use it. No matter what passions you have, God can use it. It just may take doing it a little bit different than the world's going to tell you it needs to be done, or you're doing it now. But I think as long as you're setting that compass in the right direction, I think he'll steer you right.
Thank you for having
Gavin,
me, man.
I appreciate you, dude.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, brother.
I love you.
Appreciate it.
And
Love you too,
if y'all ever need any information, it may take him 2 or 3 days to call you back, but you know what? You call and you leave a message, and he'll get back to you. Just playing. But I can get you in touch, or if you need anything, need any insight, hunting fishing,
call this guy right
call
here.
me. I might not give you spots, but I can try to
give away the spots.
That's
now.
right. But appreciate y'all joining us. Y'all don't forget to like and subscribe. This is hopefully going to be a monthly thing. We'll have an episode a month. Maybe you'll get to see this big head right here in the woods here soon. But hopefully we'll have an episode like this a month. I want to get into some of these discussions with some believers around us. I think everybody's story looks different.
That's right.
But the theme is the same. I think that's what the coolest thing about the kingdom of Christ is like it's not a one size fits all.
That's
but y'all keep setting the sight straight. And if y'all stayed around for this whole thing, I appreciate y'all. Send it to your people around you and say, hey, this is what a discussion can look like. Y'all just kind of think about how you can use the things that you're in day to day to pursue Christ. Appreciate y'all joining us. We'll see y'all on the next one.
See y'all.
Cool, man.
Yep, absolutely.
Appreciate you, dude. Love you, brother.